Good evening, no matter where you are in the world. Thank you for joining Wolfpack Performance Talk podcast. I'm your host, Jay. It is time to go in on some things, and I'm just going to free talk. I'm just going to talk about some things that I've been thinking about. Can I do that for a moment? Let me talk to you about some things that I've been considering, and I got to be real about what I've been considering. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that I'm fully vested in this is exactly what it is, but I can say I called a couple of things right that are around this situation, and right now I'm at 100%. Although, no, I'm at 100% all the times, okay? So I called some things right, and I'm just going to talk through this because it's just kind of just me free floating. We don't need to put, we don't need foil cap, 10 cap J, wherever the hell he be taking me. You know what I'm saying? We just going to stay right here on planet Earth and just talk about some real things, okay? All right, some things you might not like, but it's real things that we really got to evaluate and just like think about, like the possibilities that could happen, all right? So first thing I'm going to start with this. I called it Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion, by far going to be the GOAT quarterback. First ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt. Retired like 1.5 times. 1.5 times, I say the first time really. Now he's retired again. Might be tossing coming back to Miami. Could be if he wants to play, but I just want to say this. Tom Brady retired. Like I see the ingredients when they start coming. I say he's going to retire. He's going to retire because listen, people like Tom Brady, they're playing to be, at this point in stage in their life, they are playing to accomplish things like no other player. They're playing the season out to win the championship. And Tampa Bay, as an organization, Tom Brady as a quarterback really didn't play as elite as he usually plays. But let's be for real. I mean, he's been in the league a long time, like 20 plus years. Although his quarterbacking falls off, right? Tom Brady still, out of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, is still fourth. He's still fourth ranking, okay? When we talk about these executives, everybody ranking him, he's still a fourth quarterback on the board that majority of teams would take if you just took all the quarterbacks out, put them out there. Majority of teams, executives, coaches, the scouts would rank Tom Brady fourth. It's very funny that his age is 44, Lewis Hamilton's number. That's just a coincidence. That's not no conspiracy theory thinking. I'm just saying it's a very high coincidence that greatness is associated with greatness. We saw Lewis Hamilton and Beckham and then Michael Jordan all taking pictures with greatness, and greatness recognizes greatness. We didn't see somebody else taking pictures with those people, nor did we see those people seeking that person out, because real champions realize when you've really won a championship, they can go. And we know Tom Brady's even got some questionable things in his past, but my point is this. Tom Brady retires. He had a mixture of ingredients that were happening in his career and life that finally he was like, you know what, I'm done. If I can't go to win championships, why am I here? I got a divorce. I've been very stingy with my personal life and my family. And now I feel like it's going to be for nothing. So he retires, all right? He's gone. Next we come to Seb. Seb going to Aston Martin. A team that tremendously underperformed last season. Tremendously, okay? Sebastian Vettel literally is one of the reasons why Alonso is having the benefit of driving a car that can make him look like a revitalized all-star. Do you really think it's Alonso? Do you really think Alonso has progressed from last season to this season in his driving? Do you think 17-year season Alonso, who hasn't seen a championship since, 2006, all of a sudden added something to his repertoire that makes him an awesome driver, a more awesome driver, and now no, it is the car. The car. Aston Martin produced a car this season that is competitive. And Alonso, being a very talented and very skillful, very experienced driver, is behind the wheel of a car that is competitive. It wasn't that for Seb. And I called it. I told you all back then, I said, I think Seb is going to retire. One, the car's not competitive. He's probably tired of all the shenanigans with the FIA and all this hoopla bull crap he's got to go through. And I saw it on his face and in his voice when he was talking in conferences, when he was talking for the media. I said, Seb's going to retire. And Seb retired. He left. Now, I do believe Had Seb had even a glimpse of what the AMR 2023 is doing, he would have stayed. But Seb finished 12th last season in a field of what? We got to say like 21 drivers, add Nick DeVries because he came in for Albon. So Williams technically had 3 drivers, could have been on the board. But 12, that's not where a 4-time Red Bull great champion, youngest champion wants to be. He's not trying to be here just to go for race. He's trying to find that spot where he can add championships. Same thing as Alonso. Except Seb didn't get the benefit from all of that, and now Alonso is. So I called it. I said, Seb is likely going to retire, and he did. I was fortunate enough to talk to Seb and meet him in person. And even when I met him in person, I kind of felt like he was just there. He was just there, just like, I'm just going to enjoy this season, and then I'm gone. It just had that aura. He didn't have that zap pizzazz in the paddock like, yo, I'm trying to get here because I really got to get this thing going. I got to get this car on track. I'm really focused because I got a chance to win the race. He didn't have that type of, he didn't have that funk coming off him like that. And rightfully so. I mean, he's 4-time world champion. I mean, Seb's the greatest driver of Red Bull racing at this point in time has had until Max Verstappen gets more than 4. He is. And I don't think totally Seb was ready to walk away from the sport, but I think the ingredients that were baked in all that, starts thinking about kids. Why? Because he's not winning. Starts thinking about being with his family more. Why? Because he's showing up to qualifying and testing and practice in a car that he knows is not a competitive car. And his teammate's not really that great of a competitive driver. So what is he say? Like, I'm done. Where is he going to go? Back to Red Bull? No, Red Bull's not going to take Seb back when they got Max Verstappen, which gives them more years of trying to be great and like dominant. Where else is he going to? Mercedes is not going to do that. Mercedes just got Russell for their successor, and they still got a great driver in Lewis Hamilton. McLaren, I don't think Seb wants to move around like that. So Seb retires. So then we come to this thing. And this is where we start getting into some of these ingredients. But first, let's do this. Because I think you've all seen this clip of Lewis taking a lie detector test, and there's something that really sticks out to me. It really sticks out to me. So we're going to watch this, all right? We're going to watch this.
I'm going to keep going until you get your 8th title. Yes.
Look at that. Look at that. That was almost 5 seconds of deep thought on if he was going to stay until he got his 8th. 5 seconds. If completely you are confident about staying until you get your 8th, it doesn't take 5 seconds. What do I think Lewis Hamilton was considering? 1, we all know his contract's not done yet. 2, I think both Hamilton and Russell have had, then lost and had, and now kind of feathering on their confidence of the W14 from the W13. Although some things fixed, the car is still not where it needs to be. And now you have Aston Martin in the mix, which make Mercedes the 4th competitive team on the grid. I don't think Lewis Hamilton should retire because I'd like to see him continue to be great unless it's somebody else's time to be great. Maybe very well that might be Max and Red Bull, might be. They had to break the cost cap to do it, but might be. But the thing is this, these are the ingredients we have. Mercedes has failed to build their drivers a competitive car amongst the top 3 teams, now falling to the 4th. Lewis Hamilton is a great in his sport and likely in the world, just like Tom Brady, just like Michael Jordan. All right. He's great. And then great people, great athletes, although Lewis Hamilton having by far more character than both Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, by far doing more in the community and the world than Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, you still have your limits on, am I here to still do the best things that I can do, but I'm not because I'm being handicapped by the car that is being built and provided to me. You saw this in the interview. He literally said, "I've taken this car as far as it can go. As far as the machinery that Mercedes has given to me, I've done the best with it that I can do. There's nothing more I could do." Is that so wrong that people want to over criticize Lewis Hamilton because he's great? That's gonna happen. They ready to dump on him. Why? Because he's been so great. Now they got an opportunity to throw stones and they can actually reach. What changed? The power behind these people throwing stones didn't change. Their same limp, wrist, weak biceps are not getting these rocks any further. What's changed is the fact that Mercedes has no longer, at this point in time, built a car that Lewis Hamilton or George Russell can do great things in. And now it brings them down to the point where people feel like they can cast these stones. Well, hell, where was all these damn stones being casted when Alonso wasn't doing shit for 17 years? Where was the den? I mean, even if you want to talk about Sebastian Vettel, where was the stones then? Lewis Hamilton gets double standards in different conditions. But I will say this. I think even Lewis Hamilton at this point in time, last season he was 6th. Sebastian Vettel was 12th. He was 6th with a poor car. He had podiums with a poor car. The problem is not Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is not any less of a great driver than he was in 2021, than he is in 2022, than he was when he won all those championships, than he is this season. He's not the problem. The problem is this. All right? The problem is this. No, the problem is this. Let me show you the real problem. Let's just keep it real. The problem is this.
Listen to car which is not capable to win the championship.
Why would I ever think that? We've won 8 in a row.
The problem is that. Why would I? We've won 8 in a row. Yes. Mercedes has benefited from the fact that they got 8 constructor championships in a row. But Lewis was screwed out of his 8th driving championship and another record, which we'll talk about that later, together. So, yeah, Mercedes got their 8th, but Lewis didn't get his 8th. And then something even more egregious, which I know Lewis probably has to be thinking about because he stood tall for his team and took one on the chin. What did he say?
They can make a mistake building that car.
My team don't make mistakes. So
my team don't make mistakes. I think Lewis would beg to differ right now. I think the team has made a big mistake. Now, can this mistake be corrected? Yes. Is it as simple as the upgraded packages that they're going to bring? Could be. Will this entire 2023 season go ahead and be a wash? Maybe. Maybe. It is quite possible. Is this the first race that we just had in this season? Hell yeah. Could people be overreacting? Hell yeah. But it's a little hard to think about that when you got Toto coming out saying that I think we're going to have to go in a different direction. That's when things get very, very wrong. That's when things like, oh, shit, the boss man just came out and said, like, we're screwed. We saw Lewis and Russell from testing to like, I don't know, to free practice being like, I thought we were going to be further back than we were, but we might be all right, to qualify and be like, well, we might be okay. It's just we got some things to work in. They're going to have to put in the work until after the race to be like, well, shit, we really didn't make as far of a stride in comparison to everybody else growing. Remember what I said. If you're standing still in Formula One, you're getting left. There's no such thing as developing and just keeping what you developed and think you're going to outperform other teams. It doesn't work that way. You have to continuously grow, and if you're going to grow to be the best, you have to outgrow those competitors next to you. You have to grow by percentages multiplied than they're growing. And right now, Mercedes is going to have to grow at an astounding rate if they are planning on catching Red Bull, if they're planning on being in front of Ferrari, if they're planning on moving Aston Martin back behind them as they were last season. They're going to have to move at an astounding rate. They're going to have to develop at an astounding rate. Now, do I think that the side pods are the biggest issue? No, I don't think they're the biggest issue. I think they're part of an issue. But I think they're a part of an issue that could possibly be resolved with other body aero components. I think Mercedes have a problem with their wake going to the rear of the car. I said this much when they first launched this car. I said, I hope whatever it is they do, that they are aware that the aerodynamics of this car are going to impact the rear of the car, especially the rear wheels. I think that is a component. I also think floor development, although completely positive from where they were last season, not enough. I think everybody knew, like, in order to create porpoising, you need downforce. And so since Mercedes was porpoising, we knew they had downforce. But now that they've resolved that porpoising, how much of that downforce do they still have? You know, there are a lot of questions here. There are a lot of things that Mercedes need to answer that indeed Aston Martin has answered. And I know people got a lot of questions around Aston Martin, and I did a video. It's funny that, you know, Aston Martin breached, Red Bull breached, Williams breached, and it's just a coincidence as though three teams are being looked at as being overperformers at the very beginning of the season. Not saying that breaching the cost cap matter, but Mercedes, maybe you need to breach. Maybe you need to spend, just like Red Bull spend, maybe you need to spend just do 1.5 million. You know, Red Bull did 1.8 million pounds of overspending. Just do 1.5 and then fluff it up with a little tax credit. The ABA, enter into an ABA, take a little, penalty. Is that the same thing that's going to happen? Because Red Bull got off extremely light. They got off extremely light. And now you got Aston Martin. Fernando's benefiting from that. And likely we are going to see, I still hope to see. I know Mercedes is struggling, right? As a team, I like him. Lewis Hamilton, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. But as somebody who likes racing and competition, I can't be mad that week in, week out, if I can see three teams battle, I'm not going to enjoy that. I'm going to enjoy it. Two things can be true. I'm not going to enjoy the fact that Mercedes has developed another car that indeed might not be a performer. At the same time, I'm going to enjoy if we got a three-team battle and that shit's going in and out. If it's Alonso that's at the top of that battle at the end of the day, well, hell, I mean, come on, people. It's going to be idiots out there that's going to make Alonso seem like he's so much greater than Lewis Hamilton, and he got 3 championships. If he gets a third, 3. I mean, it'll be crazy because somebody be like a driver over 300 GPs, got the best attendance record in Formula One history as a career, and won a championship 17 years later. Yeah, it'll be a phenomenal story. It'll be a phenomenal story. But it still don't mean shit in comparison to Lewis Hamilton's accomplishments and what he's done and what he still can do. If you mean to tell me that you think Alonso can do this and Hamilton can't, you're a fool. I don't even need to listen to you. There ain't even a conversation to be had. If you want to try to tell me that Alonso is so much greater than Lewis Hamilton and that's why he's winning now, I know you're full of shit. I know you're full of caca. Why he wouldn't do it all this time? Oh, now he's driven forever power unit supply on the grid. Yeah, but he hasn't done shit until now. And what's changed? The AMR 23 is what's changed. It's enabled Alonso to compete and drive. I say this all the time. It's not a double standard. It's just real. You put a good or great driver in a good competitive car, they're going to win. Aston Martin has a good competitive car. We can go into why they have this competitive car later. Red Bull have a great competitive car. We can go why they got it later. But you're not going to see anybody win championships in a shit car. I don't care how great of a driver they are. You're not going to see it. So just be aware of what you say and how you say it. How you go about disrespecting Lewis Hamilton. This W14 is being said by Toto Wolff that it's not going to be good enough. Mercedes have, at this point in time, still early. It's still early. at this point in time, at least have admitted to the world and to their drivers that we have put you in a tough situation. But all is not lost. Everybody can't have Adrian Newey. It's only one Adrian Newey. Adrian Newey's been doing what he's doing for teams since Williams and so on. It's not going to be any different. Adrian Newey doesn't care if it's Red Bull. He doesn't care if it's McLaren. Whoever employs Adrian Newey just wants to develop and engineer something so he could say, I built that shit and look how it helped them. I can help you. So I don't blame Adrian Newey or Red Bull for accomplishing, but we do need to be fair here. Red Bull have acquired said employees from a great team of Mercedes, just like McLaren. No, not McLaren, because McLaren ain't doing shit. Aston Martin have done the same, even from Red Bull. Everybody is going to try to snipe off greatness. Now, we could talk about how they ended up with those employees, but the point I'm talking about right now is there are ingredients here that indeed somebody like Lewis Hamilton could consider and say, you know what? This is not what I came around for. This is not what I stuck around for. I'm not 7-time world champion to stick around and drive a shitbox car for 3, 4 more seasons of my damn life. I'm not. No driver wants to do it. Seb didn't want to do it. I guarantee you, Alonso's only staying in Formula One because Lewis is staying, and he don't want to see Lewis exceed his record that he have. Right now, Alonso's so happy to have a shot at, right now, Alonso's thinking, I got a shot to win a title. If we develop through this season, I got a shot to battle for the title, to actually win races. Why wouldn't he be excited? Why wouldn't he stay now? Up until now, it was just about staying in Formula One, so Lewis is not the longest-standing driver as far as his career. And then Alonso, what do you got? 2-time champion Crashgate? You don't even got that, bro. Alonso's the longest-standing Formula One career at this point in time. You ain't even got that. But now Alonso is being re-energized by the fact that the AMR 23 is a good car. Lewis Hamilton just needs the same. That's it. Mercedes is not all lost. It's not all lost yet. It's still early. People writing them off completely the first race. Although I understand they admitted to a mistake. Galacticus, what's up, bro? Remember the pink Merc. Facts, they copied that. Now the Green Bull Aston Martin. Copy that. Fastest car on the grid, and it shows it works. It works. The pink Mercedes, they copied that car. Matter of fact, they copied that car so bad that there's a rule. There's a rule built just for that. 3D imagery, high-resolution cameras cannot be utilized to study an opponent's car to then replicate their entire build. There's a regulation for that now. They did that. This is the same team that did that, and they're doing it again. They copied it, didn't get it right last season, and now they got it right over the course of development. Don't forget what components they're using. There's only some difference, some variables, small variables make a big difference. But don't forget what components Aston Martin is using now. Don't forget where they was to develop that car now. Come on now. It's not too far-fetched to think that Mercedes cannot get this right. It's going to be an indictment on them if they don't. If they go 2 seasons back-to-back and cannot develop to fix this, it's going to be an indictment on them as constructors, not Lewis Hamilton as a driver. It's going to be an indictment on Mercedes as a constructor. You muffed up and you continue to muff up. But listen, we've seen Mercedes do this in other facets of Formula One. Have we not? We saw Mercedes last season be stubborn enough to not change strategies in a race that was literally evolving around them. They just resisted the change. They did the same thing with this car concept. Only difference is, for a moment, there still might be some potential in this car concept. It just may not be fully formed, but then this then comes the point. When do you put this concept on the back shelf and work on it until it's ready, and put something else on the front shelf to make you competitive so you could possibly win more championships until that car is ready? This evidently was a cupcake that didn't finish baking. And you took it out the oven and the shit fell flat. Or you was baking it and you let them run across the kitchen floor and all that vibration caused it to fall flat. Whatever the case was, the design was not completely there. It's hard to understand something new. It's also understandable that something new ain't gonna work. But I think it's way too early to completely tell. So I think Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what packages they bring, but still understand it's not far-fetched to think that Mercedes have not already, because you got to remember, this was B-Spec. They had a traditionally type of side pod car when they first started the season out last season. It's not far-fetched that they got a backup plan ready to go. That we see a totally different side pod design. Might not be Red Bullish, might not be Ferrari, but it's might be different than that. So it's all good to throw stones until things you don't know, right? You're gonna throw a stone, you hope you're right, and if you're right, then you're like, I told you. If you're wrong, some people gonna be like, well, they just, well, sometimes you just got to come out just like I did and say, hey, man, shit, you got it. I'm not there yet to think that, I mean, come on, people like Mercedes developed championship cars that teams copied. They copied the car. What happened is they lost personnel and employees that were part of that process. Now comes out this, maybe you don't have the same employees to expedite your learning curve on this. So it's taking a little bit longer, than you would like. So we're going to see, but I do think that there are ingredients in here that if Mercedes don't get it right, you saw Lewis Hamilton, you saw how long it took him to answer that question.
I'm going to keep going until you get your 8th title.
Saw how long it takes him to answer this. Look at his face. Look where he's looking.
Yes.
And look how he looks after he says yes. It's like, yeah, but it took him a while because Lewis is even considering a lot of things here in that moment. He was thinking about a lot of things before he gave that answer. Although it said true, that was true right then and there at that moment. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of 2023 if Mercedes is unable to develop. Lewis might very well say, you know what, and I hate it because a lot of people are like, I'm glad he's finally gone. I'm glad he's out of here. You're only glad he's out of here because you felt threatened that he is the one that can stop whichever driver that you support from winning championships if he has a good car. Every driver needs a good car. And Lewis Hamilton in a good-ass car is going to beat the field. Dean Too Cool, James Allison rumored to be back. Oh my, this could be interesting. What you think about that? I don't think anything about it until I see some developments. That's what I think. Dean Too Cool, what's up? Until I see developments. People have to understand that's the type of person I am. Like, if I see it, I'll speak on it. And this is what I see right now. I do think that these ingredients could lead Lewis, if they don't get it right, to say, I'm not sticking around for this. And he's not finna jump constructors. He's not finna be a constructor whore like Alonso. Alonso jumping around the grid until he landed in a spot where he actually got a shot. Lewis Hamilton is not doing that. He's not that type of person. I don't believe. If he proves me wrong, I'll admit it. Be like, damn, I didn't see that coming. But he's not that type of person. So he's not finna jump constructor to constructor trying to find a car to get into. And most people that resent Lewis Hamilton for being as great as he is and being a black man while doing it, they ain't gonna want to try to give him the opportunity to do it. To them, they got something greater to protect, and that's Schumacher's record from being broken and shattered by whom he shares it with right now with Lewis Hamilton. I'm just talking. Just saying. So, I'm not finna draw to conclusions about whether Mercedes can do it or not. I think they can do it. It's just about how long it's gonna take them to do it. Will they do it before Lewis Hamilton gets like discouraged enough to say, hey, it's a wrap? Or will they mind up making this happen and then he can still enjoy driving? Nobody enjoys driving at the back. Not even people in teams where they know they're not going to compete enjoy that. They just have to be there because they're not that good yet. They're not good enough for another team to pick them up and bring them up the grid. They do that because they are trying to work their way out of that. They don't like being back markers. No, they don't. You think they still stay in it all just because of love? No, they stay in it because they believe I can develop myself over the course of time, that a midfield or top team will want me to drive that better car. Somebody's going to want me to drive a better car. And I'm going to work until they realize, like, you know what? It's not the driver. The team is handicapping that driver. If we put him in our car, we could win. That's what they're working for. Nobody like driving back there. They want to be at the front. But until a top team realizes that that driver is only being held back because of the development of the car has reached its extent and that team can't do it, but if we bring him to our team, we're going to win more. Lewis Hamilton proved that shit already. He going to win. He get the car, you put him in the AMR 23, you think you're going to see what you saw this weekend? No. He flying off. You put him in the RB19. You think Max doing shit in the RB19 Lewis Hamilton can't do? No. Stop it. Stop playing. If you believe that, you foolish. If you believe that, then I know you not. I know you blind as hell. You ain't blind. You just ignorant. You ain't ignorant. You just ridiculously delusional. That's what you are. Ignorant is the lack of knowing. You know. You just delusional and biased as hell to think that Max is doing things in the RB19 that Lewis Hamilton couldn't do. That Alonso is doing things in an AMR 23 that Lewis Hamilton couldn't do. Are you crazy? Probably. Let me not ask rhetorical questions. Probably. You probably are. Come on now. Stop playing. You got to keep it real. You hate the man because he's great. And if you give him a good car, he's going to do great things. And he's shown you this. He's proven this. Max is proving the same thing right now. And y'all don't hate him for it. Y'all up there loving his dirty ass dirty ass brat, stanging, crash strapping, no team support having you loving him for it, right? You ain't saying, you're not throwing the same puns out there like, oh, Max and the rocket ship. But that's the case though. And I say it all the time. It's the only thing that you can say right now about Lewis Hamilton and Russell is you see two drivers outshining the machinery and at least taking it as far as they can, because some drivers can't do that. Some drivers can't be in a shitbox car and take it to at least higher places than other drivers could. They couldn't do that. Not everybody can do that. Did Alonso do it? I just got that question for you. Did Alonso do it with Alpine? I'll wait. Did Alonso do it with Alpine? Matter of fact, did he do it? Did he take them to the top? How many points did Alonso have last season with Alpine? Anybody want? I'll tell you what. We'll look that up. We'll look that up. Matter of fact, it might be on here. It might be on one. Let's go back here and see, because he might be on one of these, right? He not on that list. So let's go to Sebastian's list. See if he's on the Sebastian list. Oh, yeah, there he go right there. 81 points. He was 9th. So no, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. So what changed? The AMR 23, okay? That's what changed. Look at Bottas. Look at where he was when he was with Mercedes. With Alfa Romeo, where is he? Where is Bottas? He's at 10. He couldn't do it. Now, everybody's saying that the W13 was trash. It was trash. Show me how many of these other drivers took these other teams to multiple podiums last season. How many of those drivers that we just talked about, Valkyrie, Alonso, shit, you could go for Gasly. You could put how many of those drivers that you consider driving for subpar teams, meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton and Russell were driving a shit box. How many of those drivers collected more podiums than one of those drivers? So am I wrong in saying that that's when you see drivers outshine machinery? When you see good to great drivers, they could do pretty decent things in shitbox cars. It's not any different. You got to have it. You got to have the team, you got to have a car, and you got to have a driver to do great things. If you're missing those, you can and I think really Lewis Hamilton showed in a good car that he could overcome team BS. Mercedes fumbled up strategy sometimes, and they also fumbled up pit stops. But the fact that Lewis Hamilton is great and he had a good car, he could compensate for those lack of to be. Now he doesn't have the car, and he still got Mercedes doing fumbled up strategy sometime, and the pit stops ain't great. Can't overcome all that. No driver can, because no driver is. You think Max just got in the league here? He been here like he didn't get his first chip till like after 6 years or so. Why wasn't he doing it before then? I can show you literally in the timeline where Max only started improving once he got with AlphaTauri and then once he got with Red Bull. I can literally show you on the timeline his percentage of winning. What changed? The car, the team. It matters. I don't know why people sit up here and try to talk to me like it don't matter. Like you really think you dissing somebody. You just make yourself look silly. Come on now. People got to get over this. They got to stop this. Right now, Mercedes has a problem. Lewis does not. And you know what? When I see people say oh my gosh. When I see people say this type of dumb crap, that Lewis Hamilton does not have the acumen to give good feedback of car development. Are you? When people say that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you probably are the same type of person that if you don't have milk for your Cheerios, you'd piss in it because you heard you could drink your piss in the desert if you were dehydrated. So you'd piss in your Cheerios and then eat it. That's the type of person you are. I'm talking to you. You're that type of person. If you say that type of shit about Lewis Hamilton, are you crazy? Lewis Hamilton doesn't have the ability to give feedback on car development. Oh my gosh. Where did they come up with these damn disrespect? They just sit around and that man lives rent-free in y'all head. Not even rent-free. He owns acreage. And it's very small if you think like that. You probably don't even have an acre. If you literally say that about somebody that like Lewis Hamilton who's achieved that. If you would say something like that about Schumacher, which I don't hear that. If you would say something about that like Senna or Prost, I don't hear that. Double standards, y'all. That's really what it is. This man took on the grunt work as a great driver. He chose to take on the grunt work for car development, to collect as much data. Let's test it. Put the devices on my car. Let me do what I need to do. Run the drag. All that stuff. It's Mercedes who is on the hook right now for not developing. Mercedes has done what they have done in race strategies. They have failed to exercise the ability to change as things around them change. And why? Because they've been great for so long, they forgot what it is to be hunted. Mercedes has been great so long, they thought they could do something and still stay there. It's not unfamiliar space, but it is space that has been long not remembered. And now they have to remember what it is to be on the back foot. Sometimes you don't get hungry. You make these decisions that don't keep you out in front. And that's what Mercedes has done. They got complacent. They thought they can come out with some willy-nilly design. And they thought, we're going to have the upside. And it's very true. They might still have the upside. Don't be fooled. It's race one, round one. Round one. Don't be fooled to think that they might not have something. Mike Elliott and the rest of these might not have something coming that is going to remedy these problems. What power unit is Aston Martin using? Just saying. Just saying. It's not like they got power unit that Mercedes don't have. It's a Mercedes power unit. Maybe there might be some things different here or there, but it's not like they, got a rocket engine that Mercedes can't have or don't have. They had it and they sold it to them. So I don't know. I just think people need to pump your brakes if you got some. If you don't, you brake fluid spilling all over, you're going to run off the cliff anyway like a lemon. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they're going to do. I'm interested to see if they're going to find a way to resolve this. I'm also interested to see if Lewis Hamilton feels he wants to keep investing his time into a team who have now decided that they made a mistake, but can you fix it? And if you can't fix it, what am I supposed to fix? Lewis Hamilton is not the mechanic. He's not the engineer. He's not the aerodynamicist. So you trying to give him all these titles and then call him incompetent is ridiculously dumb. It's ridiculously dumb. That's what it is. It's ridiculously dumb. Just being real. It's ridiculously dumb. He's not that. He's the driver. He's a great driver. He's proven that. That's what he needs to be able to do. Give you feedback, tell you what's up. But I will say this, Lewis. I'm talking to Lewis Hamilton right now. Lewis. All that shenanigans last season, about trusting the team about your tire strategy, bro, you better go ahead and run your own tire strategy. This season, the first race, I didn't expect to be hearing no radio batter about, I think these tires, if you feel like they good, then do what you need to do. You tried it that way. It really didn't pan out for you that great. It might be time for you to tell them when you gonna come in. Just give me my delta. Just give me my times. Tell me where they are. I'll let you know when I'm coming in. I'm gonna let you know when I'm gonna box, and I'm gonna let you know what tires I want. It was too many times last season where he said, I don't think these are the right tires, and they weren't. Ask them for the info that you think you need to make the best decision that you can make, and make it. If it doesn't work, then go back to relying on them, because might not be too much of a difference either way it goes with this car you got. If you do it and it works out, that's the way we running it from here on out. When y'all develop a car that's highly competitive, I'm still going to run it that way. But you damn sure got that right, so you need to do that. You need to do that. So we'll have other topics and conversations. Oh, I'm also going to post, because it is an off week this weekend, so we're going to have Wolfpack Effort Grudge Racing, so you drivers get ready. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to post that thumbnail, announce the track in the chats that we are in, and I will tell you what it is. I still got the list of things we're going to track out. I don't want to hear we've been there before, if we've been there or not. Whatever I have marked off, that's what I have marked off. What I don't have marked off, that's what we're going to race. So just be prepared to race wherever I announce, and get ready to have a show. If you all, Formula One won't be on this Sunday, Wolfpack Effort Grudge Race is going to be on, and we're going to be driving. It's entertaining. We have a good time in the chat. The drivers go in. They get prepared. We be doing all that. So, hey, come on back and enjoy it, okay? We're going to be here. They going to be on break. We not. We going to be racing. If you want to race, go ahead and go to my gamer tag, Wolfpack F1 on EA's platform. Send me a request. I'll let you in. But if I find out you're doing shenanigans and trying to wreck people, I'm going to boot your ass out. Either you coming to have a good time and be legitimate or not. Trust me, I'll boot you. I don't care. You might wreck one race, but it ain't going to be a lot. So we'll see what happens. But enjoy yourself. I just wanted to come on free, talk about what I was thinking. I was just sitting back. I wasn't even going to be on today, do content today. I was just sitting back and said, I got to go talk about this. We got to have this conversation. People getting out of hand. People like overreacting. People disrespecting this man. They disrespecting a great driver. Like, and you got to understand something. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I'm that reaction. So when you come with all the corny shit, come with all the BS that you be doing, I'm that reaction. I'm that reaction that comes back and smacks you in your face with some receipts, details, and valid conversation. And then you get mad about it. So what? Get mad. Scratch your ass and be glad. I'm out. Peace.